A local woman says her family is being torn apart because the government is labeling her husband a terrorist. The wife and young daughter are U.S. citizens, but the husband lives in Afghanistan. Well, the family has hired a local attorney to try to prove the man's innocence. Channel 4's Karen Hershey sat down with the family to find out why the man is being viewed as a threat.
18-month-old Neelab knows her father's face and voice, but not his touch. Juarez Dasgir lives in Afghanistan. His wife, Z. Sadrzota, is fighting to bring him to the United States.
I think it's not fair, for us to live separate, and life is very hard for me to live here.
According to these documents, the government has denied this father access into the U.S. because he's been labeled a terrorist.
He's like, I'm innocent. He hasn't done anything wrong. He's never been a terrorist, and I don't know what happened.
Sadrzota says her husband, who she married in 2007, works for a bank in Afghanistan. She believes that because the Taliban has connections to the banking industry, that's why the government sees her husband as a threat. So she travels to him once a year. On their last visit, he met his daughter for the first time.
Some children, they say mom the first word, but she say dada, like she calls her dad dada.
Ashwin Sharma is a local immigration attorney. Next week, he is filing an exemption with Homeland Security, the Attorney General's office, and the Secretary of State to reopen the case.
It would be ludicrous to consider him a member of the Taliban or any other terrorist group for working at a national bank that just happens to have been nationalized by the Taliban.
Sadrzota says her husband deserves a chance to come to the U.S. and her family deserves a chance to be whole again.
This is the exemption. It's a last resort. About 1,000 of these are filed in the United States every year, and for the families involved, it can take up to a year to get a decision. In Jacksonville, Karen Hershey, Channel 4, the local station.